The tofu and this, keep eating them together, and your kidneys may age first. The 3 worst food combinations that can damage your kidneys. Introduction. The silent crisis of renal health in the modern diet the sprawling landscape of modern nutrition. Few organs are as misunderstood, underappreciated, and yet critically vital as the kidneys. Often overshadowed by the heart's rhythmic prominence or the brain's cognitive mystique, the kidneys operate in the shadows of our physiological architecture, performing a ceaseless Herculean task of filtration, regulation, and hormonal balance. They are the body's master chemists, processing approximately 120 to 150 quarts of blood every single day to produce about 1 to 2 quarts of urine, thereby removing wastes and extra fluid. Without this intricate purification system, toxins would accumulate rapidly, leading to a state of systemic poisoning known as uremia, which is fatal without intervention. Yet, despite their importance, kidney health is frequently compromised by the very habits that define contemporary life: sedentary behavior, high-stress environments, and, most significantly, dietary choices that are often marketed as healthy or convenient. We live in an era of nutritional paradoxes, where superfoods are hailed as cures for all ailments, yet the context in which they are consumed is rarely scrutinized. It is not merely what we eat, but how we combine foods that determines their metabolic impact on our organs. This brings us to a startling and widely circulated claim that has captured the attention of health-conscious individuals across social media platforms and wellness forums. Tofu and this, keep eating them together and your kidneys may age first. This headline, while sensational, points to a deeper, more nuanced truth about renal physiology and food synergy. Tofu, a staple of plant-based diets and a renowned source of protein, is generally considered a health food. It is low in saturated fat, rich in essential amino acids, and packed with minerals like calcium and magnesium. However, when paired with specific other foods that might seem innocuous or even beneficial on their own, the biochemical interaction within the digestive tract and subsequent metabolic processing can place an undue burden on the kidneys. This burden, if sustained over years, can accelerate the natural aging process of these vital organs, leading to a decline in glomerular filtration rate, GFR, increased proteinuria, and eventually chronic kidney disease, CKD. The purpose of this comprehensive treatise is to dissect this claim, separate fact from fiction, and provide a rigorous, scientifically grounded exploration of the 3 worst food combinations that can damage your kidneys. We will delve deep into the biochemistry of tofu, the physiology of kidney function, and the specific mechanisms by which certain food pairings create toxic loads, oxidative stress, and inflammatory responses that target renal tissue. We will explore the role of oxalates, purines, sodium, phosphorus, and potassium, and how their interactions can tip the balance from health to harm. Furthermore, we will expand beyond just tofu to identify 2 other critical dietary pairings that pose significant risks to renal longevity. By the end of this extensive analysis, you will possess a profound understanding of how to protect your kidneys through mindful eating, ensuring that these silent workers continue to serve you well into old age. The anatomy of silence. Why? Kidney damage goes unnoticed. To understand why food combinations can be so detrimental, one must first appreciate the resilience and compensatory capacity of the kidneys. Each human is born with approximately 1 million nephrons per kidney. A nephron is the functional unit of the kidney, consisting of a glomerulus, a filtering unit, and a tubule, which returns needed substances to the blood and removes wastes. Remarkably, the kidneys have a massive functional reserve. An individual can lose up to 50% of their kidney function without experiencing any noticeable symptoms. This phenomenon, known as renal reserve, is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it allows for survival after the donation of one kidney. On the other, it means that damage can accumulate silently for decades before clinical signs appear. This silence is dangerous because by the time symptoms such as fatigue, swelling, edema, changes in urination, or nausea manifest, the damage is often irreversible. Chronic kidney disease, CKD, is classified into 5 stages based on the GFR. Stage 1 and 2 involve mild loss of function, often with no symptoms. Stage 3 is moderate loss, where symptoms may begin to appear. Stage 4 is severe loss, and Stage 5 is kidney failure, requiring dialysis or transplantation. The progression from Stage 1 to Stage 5 is rarely linear. It is influenced by genetics, underlying conditions like diabetes and hypertension, and crucially, lifestyle factors including diet. The concept of kidney aging refers to the natural decline in nephron number and function that occurs with age. After age 40, GFR declines by approximately 1 mil-173 met2 per year. However, this rate of decline can be accelerated by environmental and dietary insults. When we speak of foods that make kidneys age first, we are referring to dietary patterns that induce hyperfiltration, inflammation, fibrosis, and oxidative stress, effectively adding years of biological wear and tear to the organs in a matter of months or years. The food combinations discussed in this article are not acute poisons. They are chronic stressors. They do not cause immediate failure, but they erode the structural integrity of the nephrons, reducing the kidney's ability to cope with future stresses. The myth and reality of food. Combining before diving into the specific combinations, it is essential to address the broader concept of food combining. In the realm of alternative medicine, there are numerous theories about which foods should not be eaten together, ranging from the idea that fruits should not be eaten with proteins, to the belief that starches and acids neutralize each other. Many of these claims lack robust scientific evidence. However, when it comes to kidney health, the interaction between specific nutrients is not a myth. It is a biochemical reality. The kidneys are responsible for maintaining homeostasis of electrolytes, fluids, and acid-base balance. When we consume food, it is broken down into its constituent molecules: amino acids, fatty acids, simple sugars, vitamins, and minerals. These molecules enter the bloodstream and are filtered by the kidneys. If the load of certain substances exceeds the kidney's excretory capacity, or if the combination of substances creates insoluble compounds or toxic metabolites, the kidneys suffer. For example, high amounts of calcium and oxalate consumed together can lead to the formation of calcium oxalate stones, which can obstruct urine flow and damage renal tissue. High amounts of protein and phosphorus can lead to hyperphosphatemia and vascular calcification, stiffening the blood vessels that supply the kidneys. Therefore, the warning about tofu and this is not about arbitrary rules of digestion, but about the specific metabolic pathways involved in processing the nutrients found in these foods. To understand this, we must first look closely at tofu itself. Part 1. Tofu, the double-edged sword of plant protein. The composition of tofu. Tofu, also known as bean curd, is made by coagulating soy milk and then pressing the resulting curds into soft white blocks. It is a staple in East Asian cuisine and has gained global popularity as a versatile plant-based protein source. Nutritionally, tofu is impressive. A standard 100-gram serving of firm tofu contains approximately calories, 70-80 kcal, protein, 8-10 grams, fat, 4-5 grams, mostly unsaturated, carbohydrates, 1-2 grams, calcium, varies widely, from 100 millihours to over 300 millihours depending on the coagulant used, calcium sulfate versus magnesium chloride. Iron, 1-2 ounce. Magnesium, 30-40 mils. Phosphorus, 100-120 mg. Soybeans, the raw material for tofu, are legumes. Like many legumes, they contain anti-nutrients, primarily phytates and oxalates. Phytates can bind to minerals like iron, zinc, and calcium, reducing their absorption. Oxalates, as mentioned earlier, are organic acids that can bind with calcium to form crystals. The processing of soybeans into tofu reduces some of these anti-nutrients, but they are not eliminated entirely. The level of oxalates in tofu depends on the type of soybean and the processing method. Generally, tofu is considered to have a moderate oxalate content, lower than spinach or rhubarb, but higher than many other vegetables. The renal impact of soy protein. For decades, animal protein was viewed as the primary driver of kidney stress, due to its high acid load and sulfur-containing amino acids, which increase the workload on the kidneys to excrete acid. Plant proteins, including soy, were often recommended as safer alternatives for people with kidney disease because they produce less acid and are associated with lower levels of inflammation. Indeed, numerous studies have shown that replacing animal protein with soy protein can reduce proteinuria, protein in the urine, and slow the progression of CKD in patients with existing kidney damage. However, safer does not mean harmless, especially when consumed in excess or in specific combinations. The key issue with tofu and soy products in general is not the protein itself, but the accompanying minerals and anti-nutrients, specifically the phosphorus and oxalate content. Phosphorus. While the phosphorus in plant foods is less bioavailable than the phosphorus in animal foods or additives due to phytate binding, it still contributes to the total phosphorus load. In healthy individuals, the kidneys easily